Okay, so you have completed the first step of any knitting project. It's been casted on. We've casted on 40 stitches here. The next step is to learn how to knit. This is the first stitch you will learn and the namesake for what you're learning. So we just cast on our stitches. It was going this way. Now it's time to turn the needle around and get your other needle. We're going to need two now. So it's important to distinguish which end is the end of the yarn and which end is the working yarn. So, and pull out some more while you have a minute. Okay, so make sure you don't use the tail end because you will run out of yarn. So hold just the working end. Hold this behind your needle. So you have your left needle with all the stitches in your left hand. You've got the working yarn behind the needle. You can see over your finger to get a little bit of tension. And now with your right needle, we're going to work into this first stitch. So you notice every stitch has what we kind of call the front of the loop and a back of the loop. We're going to work into the front, so the part you see on front of the needle. So with the right needle in the front of this first loop, go from left to right. We're going to go in that stitch, left to right and behind the other needle. And now, you can see they're both in that stitch. Take this working yarn and do what's called a yarn over, so it goes up and over the needle. I'll show you again. So it goes up, over, back, and down. And then use the right needle to pull the stitch through, and now slip off the original stitch, and that's a knit. So I'll show you again. So from left to right through that yarn, wrap the working yarn over, carefully pull it to the front, and slip the old one off. And you'll notice what we're doing is we are adding a loop to the previous row, and as we slip it off, it's moving towards the right needle. So we'll keep adding a knit stitch to the previous row and moving the yarn over to the right needle. So keep working on that, left to right, wrap, pull through, and drop it off. Left to right and behind, wrap the yarn, pull it forward, slip it off. So just take your time, there's no rush, just try to get a feel for it. It can be kind of hard to hold two needles and working yarn, especially when you're just beginning. It's a challenge to, work up your dexterity. Just do whatever it takes. It doesn't have to look pretty doing it. As long as you get the stitch, it'll get easier with time, I promise. Just keep practicing. So let's go ahead and knit all the way across this row. Alright, here we are, last two stitches. I know it's kind of hard to hold on when there's not really any fabric to hold on to yet, just that first row. Alright, so we got our last knit, slip it off. Now all our stitches are on the right needle. So to do the next row, flip the needle around, get your empty needle on the right, and start all over again. So knit again across this row. Sometimes this first stitch will be a little loose, that's okay. There we go. So just keep doing this, all knits. Let's keep going back and forth every row until your washcloth is about square. So I will see you when you have a square washcloth, and then I will teach you how to bind off those stitches.